To ask the First Minister what the Scottish Government's response is to reports that the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service continue to prosecute postmasters when there was evidence that the Horizon computer system used by the Post Office was flawed. First Minister.
Presiding Officer, as Parliament will be well aware, and as the Lord President reminded me when I took the oath of office yesterday, the Lord Advocate and the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service are rightly independent from Government in their responsibility for the prosecution of crime. I am advised that it was not until the decisions by the courts in England and Wales in 2019 and 2021 that the full extent of the issues with Horizon emerged. Until that point, the Post Office maintained that the system was reliable. Indeed, the Post Office told Scottish prosecutors in 2013 that its external lawyers had reviewed all potentially impacted Scottish cases and found no issues. In 2015, the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal Service was not provided with further evidence which had been promised by the Post Office to demonstrate that Horizon was as robust as they suggested. Therefore, the decision was taken to no longer rely on Horizon until such time as that further evidence was provided. As we all know, the Post Office have at best obfuscated and at worst hidden the issues with Horizon. It is only through the ongoing public inquiry that we are learning to what extent that was undertaken.
Pauline McNeill.
I also welcome the First Minister to his post. I would ask the First Minister to note carefully what I'm going to say here. We know that in 2013, Post Office lawyers came to Scotland to meet with senior Procurator Fiscals to convince them to keep prosecuting cases. But Forensic Accountant's second sight interim report was given to Crown Office and flagged up that there were defects or bugs in the Horizon software, giving rise to 76 branches being affected by incorrect balances or transactions. But in an email to me this week, the second sight director, Ron Warmington, said if there had been a little less naivety from the Crown Office, it would have been beneficial. And if the Crown Office had at least taken the precaution of checking this report and calling him or the second sight offices, the outcome might well have been different. So does the First Minister agree that notwithstanding the independence of the Crown Office, but they should be fully accountable for the miscarriages of justice in Scotland because they didn't provide the checks and balances that they should have? They chose to continue to prosecute cases in 5 years, never wrote to a single victim or attempted to overturn any of those convictions until now. Given this, shouldn't the Lord Advocate come here to this Parliament and answer further questions?
First Minister.
Presiding Officer, first of all, let me welcome the remarks of Pauline McNeill and her welcome, which is appreciated. On the issue of, we're getting, Pauline McNeill, from her long service in the Justice Committees of this Parliament, will understand that we are getting in this question into territory where I will be intruding on, if I answer it in great deal of detail, on the independence of the Lord Advocate, and I will not do that. The Lord Advocate is an independent office holder, and I want to ensure that I protect the independence of the Lord Advocate by my actions. So the issues that Pauline McNeill raises are material to Crown Office decisions about the prosecutions that have been taken. I will relay to the Lord Advocate the points that have been made by Pauline McNeill today. I met with the Lord Advocate last night to confirm my desire for her to continue as the Lord Advocate, but I will convey to her the points that Pauline McNeill has made, and of course we will continue to engage with other parties in Parliament about the appropriate way in which this issue can be addressed within Parliament.
Audrey Nicholl.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. We know the UK-wide use of the tainted Horizon computer system evidence was a decision of the Post Office. So does the First Minister now share my concerns that it appears clear that people at the top of the Post Office have continually obfuscated and provided misleading information over the years?
First Minister.
Officer, there's obviously an ongoing public inquiry that's looking at the issues that are material to Audrey Nicholl's question, and I'm struck by, in observing that evidence, how overwhelming it looks that the point Audrey Nicholl makes is a fair point. I think we've got to allow that public inquiry to take its course. But while that is happening, there is action we can take to remedy the issue of miscarriages of justice, and that is, of course, part of the legislative programme of the Government, and the Government will bring those proposals to Parliament.
Russell Finlay.
Thank you, President Officer. The Scottish Conservatives have tried to get the Lord Advocate in here 3 times to answer Pauline McNeill's questions and many other questions, because Scotland's post office victims deserve those answers. Yet the SNP and the Greens voted against this reasonable request. So I ask again, why won't John Swinney do the right thing, and why is he adding to the distress and delays of the Horizon victims?
First Minister.
Again, Mr Finlay, as an experienced member of the Criminal Justice Committee and also and as somebody who knows his way around the issues in our courts and judicial system, that the Lord Advocate is independent in the prosecutorial decisions that are taken. I've said to Parliament that I will convey to the Lord Advocate the issues...
Let us hear the First Minister. Let's hear the First Minister.
I will convey to the Lord Advocate the issues that have been raised with me by Pauline McNeill and by Russell Finlay, and we will, of course, as I said in my answer to Pauline McNeill, continue to cooperate with other political parties about the best way to address these issues.